I was sitting in my daughter-in-law's corner office on the 23rd floor of Chase Tower in downtown Dallas, fountain pen hovering over what she called standard estate documents, when her paralegal walked past my chair. Elena was her name, according to the placard on the desk outside. She stumbled slightly, her purse catching on the arm of my chair, and in that awkward moment of apologies and helping her gather her things, I felt something pressed into my palm, a folded piece of paper, small enough to hide in my fist. I excused myself to the restroom. My hands shook as I unfolded the note. The handwriting was rushed but clear. Mr. Holloway, don't sign anything. These are conservatorship papers, not estate planning. They're claiming you have dementia. Your son and his wife will control everything. I could lose my job for this, but I can't watch them do this to you. Call this number immediately. Below was a phone number with a 214 area code. I stood there in that marble bathroom, 75 floors of glass and steel above the Dallas streets, staring at my reflection in the mirror. I was 65 years old. My father had just died 3 months ago, leaving me his entire fortune from the Texas oil boom investments he'd made in the 70s, $4.2 million. And my own son was trying to have me declared mentally incompetent to steal it. 2 weeks later, Elena Rodriguez lost her job for trying to save me. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. My father, Dutch Holloway, was a wildcatter back when that word still meant something in Texas. Started with nothing but a high school diploma and a willingness to work 18-hour days in the oil fields outside Midland. By the time the boom hit in '73, he'd saved enough to buy into some drilling partnerships. Those investments turned into serious money. Not billionaire money, but enough that he could retire at 55 and spend the next 37 years fishing and spoiling his grandkids. He died in his sleep last October. 92 years old, sharp as a tack until the end. Heart just gave out. The lawyer called me the morning after the funeral. Your father's estate is worth approximately $4.2 million, Robert. He left everything to you. I sat in my little house in Oak Cliff, the same house Catherine and I bought in 1985, and tried to process that number. Catherine had been gone 6 years now. Pancreatic cancer took her in 8 months, so fast we barely had time to say goodbye. The medical bills had wiped out our savings. I'd been living on my pension from the Dallas Fire Department, where I'd worked 30 years, and Social Security. This inheritance, it was like my father reaching out from beyond to make sure I'd be okay for whatever time I had left. My daughter Amy called me that afternoon, crying. She was a middle school teacher in Fort Worth, married to a good man named Carlos, with twin boys who were about to start college. Dad, this is such a blessing. You deserve this after everything with Mom. Now, you can finally relax. We talked for 2 hours. Amy was like her mother, steady and true. She worried about me being alone in the house, but she never once asked about the money. That's how I knew Catherine and I had done something right with her. My son Travis called 3 hours later. I heard it immediately, that tone in his voice that Catherine used to warn me about. Travis is selling you something, Bobby, she'd say. He learned it from those real estate seminars. How to sound enthusiastic about everything. Travis was 42, working in commercial real estate, or trying to. He'd been chasing the big deal for 20 years, always 6 months away from making his fortune. Dad, this is incredible news about Grandpa Dutch. Stephanie and I want to take you to dinner at the mansion. Our treat. Well, technically, your treat now, right? He laughed. I didn't. Stephanie was Travis's wife of 15 years. Corporate attorney at Foster & Webb, one of those big downtown firms with names on the door that have been dead for 50 years. She was sharp, ambitious, and Catherine never trusted her. A year before she died, Catherine pulled me aside after a Christmas dinner. Bobby, watch that woman around Travis. She's going to ruin him. I see it in her eyes. She didn't marry a person. She married potential. I dismissed it. Catherine was sick, the pain medication making her paranoid. But sitting there with my phone 3 months after inheriting $4 million, I heard my wife's voice clear as Sunday morning. The next 2 months were a blur of phone calls. Travis wanted me to invest in a strip mall development in Plano. Stephanie had ideas about real estate investment trusts. Travis called every few days with new proposals. "Dad, you're sitting on all this money doing nothing with it. Let me help you make it grow." I'd already met with a financial advisor, Helen Park, who my friend Charlie from the fire department recommended. She set me up with a diversified portfolio, nothing fancy. Municipal bonds, index funds, enough liquidity for emergencies. "Robert," she'd said, "at your age, you want steady income, not growth. You want to preserve this for your family and for your own care as you get older." It made sense to me, but Travis was furious when I told him I wasn't interested in his deals. "You're letting some stranger manage Dad's money instead of your own son? Don't you trust me?" That should have been my first real warning. Then I had my quarterly checkup at Medical City, Dallas. Nothing serious, just the routine visits Dr. Patel insisted on for a man my age with high blood pressure and a family history of heart disease. I was finishing up, getting my prescription renewals, when Travis called. "Dad, where are you?" "Medical City. Just wrapping up with Dr. Patel." "Perfect. Stephanie's office is 10 minutes from there. Come by, we need to talk about some documents. Important estate planning stuff. It won't take long." That should have been my second warning. Travis never just happened to be nearby. Stephanie's office was everything you'd expect from a big law firm. Dark wood, expensive art, that smell of leather and old money. Her secretary brought me coffee in a china cup. Travis was already there, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage used to be. Stephanie came in 5 minutes later, all smiles and professional warmth. "Robert, thank you so much for coming. I know estate planning isn't exciting, but it's so important to protect your assets, especially now." She laid out a stack of documents on her conference table. The leather folder had the firm's logo embossed in gold. "This is a comprehensive estate plan. Living trust, durable power of attorney, medical directives, guardianship provisions, standard stuff. But it ensures everything is handled properly if something happens to you." Travis jumped in. "Dad, you need to have this in place. What if you have another heart scare like you did 5 years ago? Someone needs to be able to make decisions." "I had a mild arrhythmia, Travis, not a heart attack." "Still," Stephanie said smoothly, "it's always better to be prepared. And since Travis is your son, and I'm an attorney, we're the natural choice to handle things if you become incapacitated." She walked me through the documents, pages and pages of legal language. My eyes started to glaze over around page 15. Stephanie kept up a steady stream of explanations, but I noticed she was moving fast, flipping pages, pointing at signature lines. "Just initial here, here, and here. Sign at the bottom. Initial these pages." Something felt wrong. Catherine's voice again, whispering in my ear. I asked to use the restroom. That's when Elena, the paralegal, did her purse trick. Dropped it right by my chair, fumbled around picking things up, and pressed that folded note into my hand so smooth I almost didn't feel it. In the bathroom, reading that note, my whole world shifted. Conservatorship, dementia claim. They were going to take everything. I splashed cold water on my face and looked at myself in the mirror. 65 years old, but I could still pass the fire department physical if they'd let me take it. I worked out 4 times a week at the senior center. I volunteered at the library. I beat Charlie at chess every Tuesday. My mind was sharp, my body was solid, and my own son was trying to have me declared incompetent. I pulled out my phone and stepped into one of the stalls. Dialed the number from Elena's note. A woman answered on the second ring. "Law office of Patricia Morales. My name is Robert Holloway. I was told to call this number. It's urgent. Hold, please." 30 seconds later, another voice came on. Older, authoritative. "Mr. Holloway, this is Patricia Morales. Where are you right now?" "Foster and Webb Law Offices, 23rd floor. My son and daughter-in-law have documents they want me to sign." "Don't sign anything. I mean it. Not one page." "Do you have the documents with you?" "They're in the conference room." "Can you get them without raising suspicion?" "I think so." "Take them. All of them. Tell them you want your own attorney to review everything first. Then come directly to my office. I'm in the Bank of America building, 10th floor, suite 1042. Can you do that? Yes. Robert, listen to me carefully. If those are conservatorship papers and you sign them, your son will have legal control of your finances within days. Once that happens, it's incredibly difficult to reverse. Do you understand? My hand was shaking. I understand. I walked back to the conference room. Travis and Stephanie were talking in low voices, but they stopped when I came in. I picked up the leather folder with all the documents. I'd like to have my own attorney review these before I sign anything, I said. Stephanie's smile never wavered, but her eyes went hard. Robert, I am an attorney. You can trust me. I'm sure I can, but I'd still like a second opinion. It's a lot of paperwork. Travis stood up. Dad, we've been over this for an hour. It's standard stuff. Why are you being difficult? I'm not being difficult. I'm being careful. Catherine always said to read before I signed. Mom's been dead for 6 years, Travis snapped. Stop using her as an excuse. That crossed a line. Don't you dare talk about your mother that way. She was worth 10 of both of you put together. The words came out harder than I meant them, but I didn't take them back. I walked toward the door with the documents. Stephanie moved to block me. Robert, those documents belong to this firm. They're our work product. With my name on them, I'm taking them. You're making a mistake, she said. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. I walked out. Took the elevator down 73 floors. My heart was hammering the whole way. When I got to the lobby, I half expected security to stop me, but no one did. I walked out into the Dallas heat, got in my truck, and drove straight to the Bank of America building. Patricia Morales was exactly what I needed. 60 years old, steel gray hair, eyes that had seen every trick in the book. She took the documents and started reading while I sat in her office trying to steady my breathing. After 20 minutes, she looked up. Mr. Holloway, do you know what you almost signed? The note said conservatorship papers. That's exactly what they are. But it's worse than you think. She turned the documents around so I could see. This petition claims you're suffering from advanced dementia. It includes an affidavit from Dr. Patel stating you showed signs of cognitive impairment during your last visit. It appoints Travis as your conservator, with full authority over your finances, medical decisions, and living arrangements. Dr. Patel never said that. I just saw him 2 hours ago. I'm sure he didn't. This affidavit is forged. Look at the signature. I looked. It was close to Dr. Patel's signature, but not quite right. The P was wrong. If you'd signed these documents, Patricia continued, Travis and Stephanie could have filed this conservatorship petition as early as tomorrow. With your signature, it would look like you acknowledged your own incompetence. Even if Dr. Patel testified the affidavit was forged, judges err on the side of caution with elderly petitioners. You'd be in conservatorship while the legal battle played out, which could take months. In that time, they'd have complete access to your $4.2 million. I felt sick. My own son. Patricia's expression softened. I've been practicing elder law for 30 years, Robert. Money does terrible things to people, especially family. The paralegal who warned you, Elena Rodriguez, she saved your life as you know it. I need to thank her. You need to protect yourself first. I'm going to file an emergency protective order. Then we're going to the DA's office. This is fraud, forgery, and attempted financial exploitation of an elderly person. These are serious crimes. Travis will go to prison, probably. And Stephanie could be disbarred. I sat there in that office, looking out at the Dallas skyline. My son, the boy I taught to throw a baseball, the kid who cried when our dog died, the young man who'd stood at his mother's funeral and promised we'd get through it together. He'd looked me in the eyes and tried to steal my inheritance, my freedom, my dignity. Do it, I said. File everything. Patricia made some calls. Within an hour, I was sitting in the Dallas County DA's office, giving a statement to a detective named Morrison. He was maybe 40, ex-military by the way he carried himself, and he listened to my story without interrupting. Mr. Holloway, did you bring the documents? I handed them over. He read through them, his expression getting grimmer with each page. This is bold, he said finally. Stupid, but bold. Your daughter-in-law is an attorney. She should know better. Can you prove the affidavit is forged? We'll get Dr. Patel's statement, have our handwriting experts look at it. But more importantly, we're going to get a warrant for Foster and Webb's servers and Elena Rodriguez's testimony. If she witnessed them preparing these documents, that's conspiracy to commit fraud. She'll lose her job. She's probably already lost it. But she did the right thing, and we'll protect her as much as we can. I gave him Elena's name and the phone number from the note. Detective Morrison made more calls. I sat there feeling like I'd aged 10 years in one afternoon. That evening, Amy drove down from Fort Worth. I'd called her from Patricia's office, told her everything. She walked into my house, hugged me, and started crying. Dad, I'm so sorry. I never thought Travis would. I knew he was struggling, but this, I didn't see it coming either, baby girl. He called me an hour ago, said you were having a paranoid episode, that you'd stolen documents from Stephanie's office and accused them of trying to steal your money. He wanted me to help convince you to get psychiatric help. What did you tell him? I told him to go to hell. Then I called Carlos and drove straight here. We sat in my kitchen, the same kitchen where Catherine used to make Sunday dinners for the whole family, where Travis and Amy grew up doing homework at the table, where we'd celebrated birthdays and holidays and graduations. It felt like a lifetime ago. Your mother knew, I said. She warned me about Stephanie. I should have listened. Mom always saw people clearly. But Travis made his own choices. Stephanie might have pushed, but he agreed to it. He signed off on forging Dr. Patel's signature. He was going to stand there and watch you sign away your rights. The next 2 days were chaos. Detective Morrison got his warrant. They seized computers from Foster and Webb, interviewed Elena, and got Dr. Patel's statement. The doctor was furious. That's not my signature, he told the detective. And Robert Holloway is one of the sharpest men his age I know. The idea that he has dementia is ridiculous. Elena's testimony was damning. She'd been working at Foster and Webb for 5 years, supporting her daughter through nursing school. She told the detective she'd overheard Travis and Stephanie in a conference room 2 weeks before my visit. Mr. Holloway was desperate, Elena said in her statement. He kept saying they were drowning in debt, that the bank was foreclosing on their house. Mrs. Holloway said she knew how to handle it, that conservatorship was easy with an elderly parent. She'd done it before. That last part made Detective Morrison's eyes light up. She'd done it before? The investigation expanded. They found 2 other cases where Stephanie had filed conservatorship petitions for elderly clients. Both cases had been settled quietly, the families paying Stephanie's firm large fees to manage the estates. The firm's managing partners claimed they knew nothing about it. Maybe they didn't, but Stephanie Foster Holloway was looking at multiple counts of fraud and elder abuse. Travis and Stephanie were arrested on a Thursday morning. Amy was with me when Detective Morrison called. We've got them, Mr. Holloway. Both of them. They're being arraigned tomorrow. I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollow. The trial took 7 months. Travis's attorney tried to paint him as a victim, manipulated by his ambitious wife. But the evidence was clear. Email chains between Travis and Stephanie planning the scheme. Text messages about how to handle me. Financial records showing they'd already spent money they didn't have, expecting to get access to my inheritance. And worst of all, a notebook Stephanie kept, planning out the conservatorship step by step, with Travis's handwriting in the margins adding suggestions. The jury took 4 hours, guilty on all counts for both of them. Stephanie got 6 years for fraud, forgery, and attempted financial exploitation. Travis got 4 years for conspiracy and fraud. The judge called it a profound betrayal of the sacred trust between parent and child. I sat in that courtroom and watched my son's face as the sentence was read. He looked at me once. I saw shame there, real shame, maybe for the first time in his life. After the sentencing, I walked out with Amy and Carlos. Elena was waiting outside the courthouse. She'd lost her job at Foster and Webb the day after the investigation started. The firm claimed she'd violated attorney-client privilege. Patricia Morales was representing her in a wrongful termination suit, but it was going to take time. Mr. Holloway, Elena said, I wanted to see how you were doing. I shook her hand. Elena, you saved me. If you hadn't warned me, I'd have signed those papers. I couldn't watch them do it. My mother, she's 70. She lives with me and my daughter. If someone did that to her, she didn't finish. What do you make in a year? I asked. She looked surprised. I was making $42,000 at the firm. Why? Because my financial advisor is going to call you tomorrow. I'm setting up a fund for your daughter's nursing school. Full ride, whatever she needs. And I'm investing in your future. You mentioned you wanted to go to law school yourself. Her eyes filled with tears. Mr. Holloway, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Good people need to be rewarded, and you're one of the good ones. Patricia took Elena on as a paralegal at her firm with a significant raise. I funded Elena's law school tuition. 3 years later, she passed the bar. She specializes in elder law now, protecting people like me. I didn't visit Travis in prison for the first year. Amy went a few times. She said he was different, quieter. He'd lost 30 pounds. He was taking classes, working in the prison library. He asked about me every time. I wasn't ready. Year 2, I went. The visiting room at the state prison in Huntsville smelled like industrial cleaner and desperation. Travis looked older than 44. His hair was going gray, just like mine did at that age. We sat across from each other. Neither of us spoke for a long moment. I'm sorry, he finally said. I know that doesn't change anything. But I'm sorry, Dad. Why? I asked. That's what I need to know. Why? He looked down at his hands. We were drowning. The house was going into foreclosure. I'd made some bad investments. Stephanie kept saying we needed a solution, and she knew how to get access to your money legally. She'd done it before with other clients. She said it was easy, just paperwork. I convinced myself it wasn't really stealing because you'd leave it to me eventually anyway. So you decided to take it now and lock me up in the process. I told myself we'd take good care of you, that you'd be comfortable. But I knew, deep down, I knew it was wrong. I looked at you, and I saw money instead of my father. I forgot everything Mom taught me about family and honor. I forgot who I was supposed to be. Your mother knew. She tried to warn me about Stephanie. Mom was right about a lot of things. I didn't want to listen. We talked for an hour. It wasn't forgiveness. I wasn't there yet. Maybe I never would be. But it was a start. I visited him every month after that, for the next 2 years until his release. Stephanie got out after serving 4 years. She moved to Arizona, changed her name, started over. I never saw her again. I hoped she found whatever she was looking for. I hoped it was something better than money. Travis was released after 3 years and 2 months. Good behavior. He moved into a halfway house in East Dallas, got a job at a warehouse, started putting his life back together. He didn't ask me for money. He didn't ask me for anything except 1 phone call a week. I gave him that. 5 years after the trial, I took him to lunch at Sonny Bryan's, a barbecue place Catherine used to love. We ordered brisket and sweet tea. Real Texas food. Not fancy, just honest. I'm not giving you money, I told him. I'm not investing in anything for you or buying you a house or fixing your problems. You need to rebuild on your own. He nodded. I know, Dad. I wouldn't ask. But I am giving you a chance. I slid an envelope across the table. Inside is a letter of recommendation. My friend Bill runs a construction company. He's looking for someone to manage projects. It's hard work, honest work. The pay is decent. If you want it, it's yours, but you'll earn every dollar. Travis opened the envelope and read the letter. His hands shook. Thank you, he whispered. I'll work hard. I promise. I know you will, because if you don't, you'll answer to Bill. And he's meaner than I ever was. Travis laughed. And for just a second, I saw my boy again. The one who used to help me work on the truck in the driveway. The one who'd brought Catherine flowers every Mother's Day. The one who'd hugged me at her funeral and whispered that we'd be okay. Maybe we would be, maybe not, but at least we were trying. The money, what was left after legal fees and smart investments, went into trusts and charitable foundations. Amy got a trust for her boy's college education. Elena's construction company grew successful, and she hired 2 other single mothers in her first year. I donated to pancreatic cancer research in Catherine's name, and I set aside a fund for Travis's future children, if he ever had any. in a trust he couldn't touch, but they could access at 25. For myself, I kept the little house in Oak Cliff. I fixed the fence Catherine always complained about. I planted roses in the garden she'd designed but never got to finish. And every Saturday morning, I went to breakfast at Sonny Bryan's. Not because I expected anything, but because it was our ritual, mine and Catherine's. Some people think money solves problems. I learned it only reveals what was already there. My son's desperation and poor judgment. Stephanie's greed and willingness to exploit vulnerable people. But also Elena's courage, Amy's loyalty, my own capacity for both justice and mercy. Standing in line at Sonny Bryan's one Saturday morning, 7 years after inheriting my father's money, a young man behind me dropped his wallet. I picked it up and handed it to him. "Thanks," he said. Then he looked at me closer. "Wait, are you Robert Holloway? The guy whose son tried to steal his inheritance? I read about the trial." I smiled. "That was a long time ago. Did you ever forgive him? Your son? We're working on it. Family's complicated. My dad and I aren't speaking. Money issues." He laughed bitterly. "Always money, right?" "Not always," I said. "Sometimes it's about trust. Sometimes it's about remembering who you are when everything changes. Give your dad a call. Life's too short to let money get between you and the people who matter." He looked thoughtful. "Maybe I will." I got my brisket sandwich and sweet tea, drove home. The roses were blooming. The house was quiet. And somewhere across Dallas, Travis was at his job, building something with his hands, instead of tearing down something with his choices. It wasn't the ending I'd expected when my father left me that inheritance 7 years ago, but it was the ending we'd earned. And in a strange way, I thought Catherine would approve. She always said money couldn't buy character, but hardship could reveal it. We'd proven her right. Again.